Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor, and Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 2-2 podcast. Thank you always for joining me and being a part of the conversation. Listen, y'all, this is going to be one of those type of episodes. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's going to be one of those type of episodes that is going to really bring emotion. It's going to be an emotional episode. Let's just put it like that. No words can describe how tough it's going to be today. However, listen, we're going to get through it together. So with that being said, let's go. Addiction is the only prison where the locks are on the inside. Believe me, I know for a fact that addiction can be a debilitating thing to deal with if you do not control it. It can be a prison in which you have the locks on the inside, but don't have the keys to open it or don't have the mind to free yourself. When I said this was going to be a tough episode, I meant it. I really did. Where do you start? What do you say? Where do you go with this? What's going to be I'll be honest with you. I was very apprehensive doing this episode. I was very apprehensive. And that's because, like I talked about on Tuesday, there's that fear that people will treat you differently. But far be it from me to be upset that people leave because you tell your testimony, or that you use your testimony to help others. I understand that there will be people that look at me differently. I do understand that people will probably treat me differently. I do understand that people may even go as far as never talk to me again. Not because I did something wrong to them, but because when you're talking about addiction, there are some people that are of the mind that they're better than you because you're going through a storm like this. And so they feel like they can cancel somebody that is going through an addiction. We've all fallen short we have all fallen short of the glory of God. We all have. We all have been in a position in our lives where we have gone through something and there is guilt and shame attached to what we do. Believe me, I'm one to tell you that I haven't been able to tell a lot of people what I'm about to tell you guys. But I felt it was time to actually talk about this particular subject. I felt that it was time. I felt that there was a need to talk about it, to not only free myself, but to free others. It is that time to lay it all on the line, put our chips on the table, and find healing in this moment, in this situation. So let's heal together today. Let's grow together today. I know I'm rambling on and on. I didn't write any notes for this. There's no catchy introduction. There's no anything. There's no, there's no points, really. This is me speaking directly from the heart and from experience. But let's set the stage about what we're talking about. Today we're talking about addiction. We're talking about the fact or the condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. For some, their addiction is to a substance, whether that's drugs, alcohol, whatever that may be. In my case, my addiction was to porn. I don't feel shame in saying it because it needs to be said. My addiction was to porn. I don't know where it came from. I personally do believe it came out of this first thing, and it's curiosity. You know, when you're prepubescent teen and going into throughout the stage of puberty, you have a sense of curiosity. It happens. But what happens when curiosity turns into a bad habit? What happens when curiosity turns into, okay, well, that was cool. I want to see what's next. Okay, cool. I want to see what's next. And so it goes from a habit. It goes from, once in a while to twice in a while, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, the whole week. What happens when you are going through this storm and nobody knows you're going through this storm because you're scared? I've had plenty of times throughout this where I was scared somebody would find out. I had so many times in my life where I was highly functioning but falling. There are not a lot of people that when they're battling addiction, they are high functioning. But I was high functioning in my addiction. I was doing things. I was, going to work and going to school and hanging out with friends, highly functioning. But like deep in the back of my mind, there's that void that I thought I needed filled by fulfilling this addiction, but fulfilling this, fulfilling this addiction. I felt that in order to keep being a high functioning person, and while going through those withdrawals, that I needed to do this. This was a necessity. It wasn't I didn't think of it as a bad habit. I didn't think of it as an addiction. I felt that, as the title of today's episode is, it made me feel good. There's so many excuses that we have for our addictions as to why we do what we do. And one of my main excuses was, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel fulfilled. It helps me. It gets me through the day. It man, it gets me where I need to go. It gets me where I need to go. It gets me where I need to be. I'm sorry. But here's the biggest excuse that I made. And it helps me get to sleep. It helps me get to sleep. I couldn't get to sleep without watching something. I couldn't get to sleep properly without watching something. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd get a drink, and I would get something to drink and that wouldn't work. I'd get a snack, that wouldn't work. I'd watch a show, that wouldn't work. I'd play a video game, that wouldn't work. So I just went to my habits, and that's what I felt. That's what I felt that would help me go to sleep. It would help me. That's what I thought would help me get to sleep better. Addiction is a prison, and it's the only prison where the locks are on the inside. And I'm telling you, I never thought, you know something, let me backtrack. Let me just be real with you. I honestly never thought, there were so many times that I didn't think I would get free. There were so many times where I felt that I'd never be whole without tapping into my addictions. I never thought it. I was in church and I heard about, I was in church and I was active. I'm in church and I'm active. And even then I was in church and I was active and doing different things as far as church. But like even with church and being around church, being in church, I still felt that I wasn't fulfilled. And that's the worst thing to feel in the world, y'all. To feel that you'd never be whole or never be free or never find forgiveness or never, ever tap into your purpose. Or that God was just angry with me. And this is for anybody. Before I get into anything else, I wanted to do this first. I didn't want to talk about this on the back end of the show. I didn't want to take the time to, take time at the end to say, oh, by the way, the reason why I'm teaching this is because A, B, and C. No. I wanted to get this out of the way ahead of time. Because if I didn't get it out of the way ahead of time, I don't think I would have said it. I would have made it seem like I'm teaching this just because it was something to talk about. No, this right here, there are no notes. None. No written notes here of my own. You can't plan an episode like this. You can't write for an episode like this. There's no way. This episode is mainly and solely from experience. So, so much is going on. So many things involving this have been, so many opportunities to be great and do different, have been pushed away all because of me, because of this addiction. So many opportunities. I should be better off. I should be further along. I should be in a better state of mind. And on the back end, after I get done with the lesson part of this, I want to talk about just some ways that I eliminate the triggers and, find therapy and just try to get away from those things that I believe would trigger going back into it. But I'm telling you this testimony, and I'm saying, this testimony is mainly for somebody out there right now who's dealing with any addiction, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pain, whether it's pain pills, whether it's porn, whether it's any type of sexual addiction, anything. That for anybody that is addicted to something, I'm telling you today that you can get free. Freedom can come. Freedom is available. Today is the day. Break your chains. Healing is available to you. You have to understand that now's the time. It's never too late. Find freedom today. But most of all, find some people that have been where you've been. Find some people that have been down those roads that you've been. Find some people that you can confide in. Find some people that you can talk to, that you can trust. And also, most of all, tap into the power of prayer today, y'all. If you are dealing with something in your life that is addicting, please, I beg of you, I implore you, I admonish to you, pray, find somebody, find an outlet, and we'll talk about the outlets in just a few minutes. Find that outlet. Tap into the power of prayer. Freedom is here for you today. We're going to break a cycle of addiction today. But I needed to get that out first before I go any further. I know I keep saying it, but it needed to come out. So, let's do it together, family. All right. Oh, man. I'll be honest with you. That took a lot out. That takes a lot out of you to finally say that. But the things that are being taken out of you when you are telling your testimony are the things that need to go out. But eventually you have to say enough is enough. When you're in a storm, when you're dealing with the cycle, you have to be willing to break the cycle. And what is that cycle? I can only speak from this experience. And I'll give you 4 of these because this is kind of the way that I went. And here are some of the steps of addiction. And this could go for anything at this point. And we're going to break this cycle. I'm just trying to pull it up because remember I told you there were really no notes today because this is an experiential thing. And I just feel like it was needed. I know I'm doing a lot of pausing right now. I'm just trying to process everything at the moment. This is just a real and raw episode, man. Like, thank you to those who are going to listen and are going to understand. Trying to personally keep your emotions in check when you're talking about something that you're dealing with or something, you're telling your testimony, trying to keep your emotions in check is one of the hardest things to do. I know this is filler and this is not the usual rah-rah, sis boom ba, shaky pom-poms, let's do it, but nonetheless, this is an episode that is equally powerful as any other episode. So let's go. So, here's the cycle of addiction, and we'll go one by one. So remember I said that it all starts, honestly, it's an emotional trigger. That's the first thing. There's an emotional trigger. And that emotional trigger is, man, she looks good. Wow, why am I feeling this way? I need to take care of this. Oh, I'm thinking about something. Oh, I got to take care of this. It's an emotional trigger. The first thing. The second thing is that craving. Man, I can't live without this. Oh, I need some of this. Oh, man. Listen. An addiction, and hear me out, an addiction to drugs, alcohol, porn, whatever, is not the same as an addiction to Oreos. Okay? With an addiction to Oreos, and I don't mean to make light of addiction, but still. An addiction to Oreos, you can stop an addiction to Oreos at any time. With addictions to a lot of other things, it's harder to get rid of the addiction to, porn and whatever, porn and drugs and alcohol. It's a little deeper. It's a little deeper than saying, okay, I'll stop. It's okay, I'll stop. Because eventually those triggers come back again. They come back again, and they'll come back again, and they'll come back again. Emotional triggers turn to cravings and turn to ritual. Now it's gone from I gotta have some of that. Man, I gotta do this. Then it turns into ritualistic behavior. I got to do this every day. It's a part of my practice. It's a part of what makes me go. It's a part of what makes me tick. It's a part of what the best part of waking up is addiction in your cup. And the best part of your day is doing this It's a ritual. I gotta have it. Now, you're at the part in your life where every day you gotta do it to function. It's obsessive. At some point you become desensitized to the fact that you're doing it every day. It's just like, oh, well, it is what it is. It's a part of my life now. It's a part of my life. To the point that you completely don't have, you completely lose this part because of being desensitized. You lose the part where there's guilt, there's shame. God, why did I do this again? God, why did I do this again? God, why do I keep doing this? You're asking yourself why you keep doing this. You're asking God, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I have to continue to put myself in a position where I allow these triggers to rule my life and allow my addictions to rule my life? Once you get into the habit cycle, once you get into the cycle of addiction, if you don't get a control on it and get a hold on it early, you can throw guilt and shame out the window because you become desensitized to the fact that you're addicted. And with being desensitized, when you are numb to the fact. When you become numb to the fact that you're addicted, you go, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. An addiction. No. I don't. It is what it is. And we have to get rid of the excuse that it is what it is. We have to. We have to get to the point in our lives where we take the first step. And what's that first step? The first step is towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are. With addiction, there's stagnation. With addiction, again, I say it, addiction, there's stagnation. You get stagnant, desensitized, numb. When you're dealing with an addiction, you're not in your right mind. Because you're being controlled by the triggers. You're being controlled by your habits. You're being controlled by your emotions. You're being controlled by your thoughts. You're being controlled by what you see. And I know I say this quote, and I say this all the time. But I believe right now that this fits into this moment, to this show, to this time today. You've heard me say it often, and I did a whole series on it. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What's the first step? The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. The second step to that, I believe, is that you're not going to allow addiction and bad habits and bad thoughts to be a part of your destiny. When your destiny is at hand, and your destiny and your dreams and your purpose is at hand, you have to take into account all of the bad habits, all the red flags in your life, all the addictions in your life that are causing you to be stuck in mud, in quicksand, what have you. You have to look at that. That's the second step, is to realize that your destiny is at hand. Your destiny is is being attacked based on the addictions that you have. And this is not an attack on anybody. I told you, this is not an attack on anybody. This is just for me. I believe the third step is saying enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living like this. I can't keep watching this. I can't keep being around people like this. I can't keep talking like this. This isn't me. You know how many times on the road to recovery where I've said enough is enough, but I wasn't strong enough to make enough. See, because saying enough is one thing, but you have to put it into practice, and you have to make sure that enough is enough. You have to put a stop to what you're doing. You have to put a stop to it. You have to take a stand. There is a moment in time where you will be faced with your mountain. There will be a moment in time where you are on the road to destiny and to purpose, and your mountain and your past will try to creep back in, because your past doesn't want to leave. Your past doesn't want you to move forward in life. Your past doesn't want you to be great in life. Your past doesn't want you to move forward, because your past is afraid that you're going to leave it where it's supposed to be, and that's in the past. See, your past can't go into your future. Your addictions can't go into your future. However, your testimony about how you got free will be the catalyst towards your destiny and to your future. How you got free. And that all starts with saying, enough is enough. I'm tired of this. I'm sick of being here. I'm sick of these addictions. I'm sick of having to do this to go to sleep. I'm sick of having to do this to function. I'm sick of having to do this to wake up in the morning. I'm sick of having this as a habit. And I believe that the final step is what I'm about to tell you now. Finding those outlets. Finding those moments, not even just moments, finding that time to find therapy. Finding those therapeutic times in your life to free yourself from addiction. And what are some of those therapeutic things that I do, or those things that help me along the way? One of those things is what I've always said now, and y'all never understood. I'm sure some of y'all never understood why I said that podcasting was therapeutic for me. It was more than just anxiety and depression, y'all. It was more than that. It was more than dealing with anger. It was more than dealing with fear. It was more than that. It was the fact that this is therapeutic for me because I battled addiction. This right here was therapeutic. This right here was where I needed and what I needed. It was what I needed to get free. It's writing is therapeutic. Singing is therapeutic. No, I'm not going to sing. But for those who know, no. Okay. We'll leave that there. But most of all, finding somebody to talk to. Finding some men that have been here to talk to. Finding some women that you can talk to. Finding people, period, that have been where you've been that you can talk to. Because we all need somebody, like I said at the beginning, to confide in. We all need somebody that will pray with you and love you unconditionally. In spite of. That won't see you for your addiction. That won't see you for the person that you are. For the person that is trying so heavily to become better and to break free. So I encourage you today, please, if you are addicted to anything that is debilitating, that has pushed you back, please understand the following. That there is no shame in finding help. There's no shame in receiving help. There's no shame. Just like with dealing with anxiety and depression and being bipolar, there's no shame in finding help to break free from addiction. There's no shame. There's no guilt. And for those who shame you for finding help for addiction, don't deal with those folks. They're going through something themselves. But because what they're going through is not as magnanimous and is not as great as what you're going through, they feel that they can shame others. And please understand, there is no shame in getting help. There is no shame in telling your testimony when you're ready to tell your testimony. There's no shame. There's no shame in finding somebody to talk to. There's no shame. Fear and shame cannot rule on the road to freedom. It cannot rule. Fear cannot rule on the road to freedom. It cannot rule. It cannot reign. It will not reign. And remember what I said Tuesday. Be willing to release yourself in a healthy way from the gravitational pull of addiction and concealing what you've been going through. Because what you conceal, like I said Tuesday, what you conceal will not heal. What you conceal will not heal. Take time today to to eliminate those triggers and break the cycle. Let's all heal together, y'all. I'm here for you. We're all here for you. I'm here for you. Find somebody else that's here for you. If this episode today has really helped you in any way, if this episode has caused has become the catalyst towards freedom, please let me know. Please send me a message. Please, confidentially. This show is a judgment-free zone show. This is judgment-free. Hear me out. This is a judgment-free zone. But please, if you have been blessed by this episode and you are wanting to get free today, and you are going through a storm, please let me know. Please tell me how this has blessed you. And how can you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can do one of two things. You can go to AlexJ_live on Instagram. AlexJ_live. Or you can go to 22_podcasts, also on Instagram. Send me a message. Let me know what you're going to do to become better. What you're going to do to get healed. What you're going to do to get free. What you are doing to release yourself from the gravitational pull of the addiction cycle. Today is the day to break it. Let me know where you are on your road. Let me know what you've been through. Because I've got your back. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here that'll listen to this show that have your back as well. I love you. And guess what? We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be back next Tuesday. And I'm excited to do it all over again. I feel free today. I feel free after this episode. I feel a freedom like no other. You can't tell. I'm not a super emotional person. I don't cry. But on the inside, my emotions are in my mind and just deep on the inside, my emotions were all over the place. They've been all over the place since I said I was going to do this episode. They're just everywhere. And thank you to those that I talked to ahead of time about doing this episode. Just to tell them to pray for me. And those that continue to pray for me without me telling them what I need prayer for. Thank you. You know who you are. I'm not going to shout you out. Well, this is the shout out. I'm not going to call your name out, but you know who you are. I really appreciate you. Listen, y'all. Next Tuesday, let's keep it going. I'm not going to tell you what the episode is. We're just going to have fun with it. So with that being said, next Tuesday, and at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m., and of course Tuesday is our Tuesday Night Live days. And that's at 7 p.m. and that's on AlexJ_live. That's going to be live on IG at 7 p.m. every Tuesday. Unless it changes. And that's subject to change every now and then. But Tuesday Night Live at 7 p.m. on IG Live. Also, join me here Tuesdays and Thursdays for the 22 podcast. 1 p.m. live on Spotify, Anchor, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Sorry, stuttering here. Let's rewind that. Let's do that again. We're not cutting that out the tape. On Anchor, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Listen, y'all. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this blessed you as much as it blessed me. I hope that this episode frees you as much as it freed me today. Be blessed, y'all. We'll see you next Tuesday.